Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video I'm going to take a look at what happens to Shaman in the standard rotation of 2019. If you're unfamiliar with the standard rotation, it happens in Hearthstone every year when the first expansion of the year is released. And when that happens, the expansions from 2 years prior rotate out of standard format and will therefore only be available for play in Wild, in single player modes and in some of the tavern brawls. In 2019, the expansions that are rotating out of standard are therefore Journey to Un'Goro, Knights of the Frozen Throne and Kobolds and Catacombs. In general, this means huge changes because these expansions from 2017 were overall much more powerful than the expansions from 2018. And in this video I'm going to explore what this is going to mean to Shaman, what keycards are going to leave, what keycards are going to stay, and what it means for the main Shaman archetypes that are seeing play right now. For Shaman, things are a little bit different than for most other classes because we came to 2017 after a period of Shaman domination, and Blizzard's idea of balance is often that okay, if one class has been on the top, then let's not give it any good stuff so that it falls to the bottom. And Shaman did not actually get that much stuff in these 2017 expansions, so it's in a bit of a different state than most other classes. Journey to Un'Goro did give Shaman a brand new theme, Elementals, with cards such as Kalimos Primal Lord, Firebloom Harbinger, Servant of Kalimos, Blaze Caller. All of these cards, Shaman received a brand new theme. However, this tribal theme never was much good. It wasn't really good in 2017, even in 2018 it has now seen some play. After the Flame Tongue Totem nerfs and after everything else that Shaman has been able to do has been nerfed, but it's still not very good. Ironically though, Elementals might have been good enough that if they had survived the rotation, then in the post-rotation meta they maybe could have finally shined, but that's an opportunity that they're not going to get. Journey to Un'Goro also gave Shaman cards such as Volcano and Primal Fin Totem, but Volcano, while a good board clear, requires some sort of control plan, and after Shadowwalk nerf, Shaman has not had such a plan. Whereas Primal Fin Totem shines either in Murloc decks, or in decks that have many ways to buff tokens, and with Flame Tongue Totem nerfed, and now also the Murloc quest rotating out, it really doesn't have much of use at the moment either. Knights of the Frozen Throne was almost a complete blank for Shaman, ironic because it was very strong expansion overall. Shaman did get a Death Knight card of course like everyone else, Thrall Deathseer, so a little bit of this evolve support, and Snow Fury Giant, which has been used in various fun control type of Shaman decks that just multiply these giants, but those tactics will not be available in the next standard year. Looking at Kobolds and Catacombs further shows how evolve mechanics are on their way out. Unstable Evolution, rotating out of standard, as well as Corridor Creeper, one of the best evolved targets. Kobolds and Catacombs also gave more Elementals which are also on their way out, so Grumble, Worldshaker, Murmuring Elemental. Even more of these Elemental synergies will be gone. Finally, one more control Shaman tool, a healing tool, Healing Rain, will be rotating out of standard format with the Kobolds and Catacombs. After such a long dry period, Shaman finally got some real power cards in the Witchwood, and that's also going to stay in standard for another year. Shudderwook, which used to be an OTK combo card, but of course that combo has not been available for some time anymore. Which still doesn't make Shudderwook a bad card. If you build your deck around battle cries, Shudderwook can be used as a huge refill and value tool. And also Witchwood gave Shaman Hagatha the Witch, which is an incredible value engine, and that's going to stay in the new rotation. Well, a lot of this infinite value is going away, but Hagatha is going to stay, and that's a big deal. Witchwood also gave Shaman some other pretty decent cards like Earthen Might, especially good with Elementals of course, so there won't be that many Elementals left, and Zap, some of these nice cheap overload synergies. And even though we're losing a lot of Elementals, The Boomsday project gave Shaman a bunch of new elementals as well as more uses for those overload synergies. Another pretty good expansion for Shaman. Electro Storm Surge, a powerful elemental, Menacing Nimbus, very powerful early game elemental, and Thunderhead, a great elemental with also lots of overload synergies. Boomsday project also saw the return of some form of evolve mechanic in the form of Stormbringer, which transfers your minions into random legendary minions. So there is still some of that token evolve type of synergy left. And then there is Eureka. Eureka has mostly seen play in the Snow Fury Giant overload, make copies type of Shaman decks, but if there's a suitable card to combo with it, then Eureka could also be a combo card in the future. Rastakhan's Rumble has not been a bad expansion for Shaman either. Shaman is getting a lot of these interesting legendary cards, which on the other hand might also mean that Shaman is going to be like the Wallet Warrior of the next rotation, because there are so many interesting legendary cards, and you could also put many of them into the same deck. So there's Kragwa the Frog, there's Zentimo, a Spirit of the Frog, one of the more usable spirit cards. A little more elemental synergies again with the Box Slosher, and some nice overload synergies with Lickim. While the cards Shaman got in 2018 have not been on a power level that would have been really taken on against the 2017 cards that other classes received, they are going to stay for another year, other classes are going to lose those most powerful cards, so Shaman is going to be in a pretty interesting position. What about the current Shaman meta decks? Are some of them going to survive? After every playable Shaman deck was nerfed, the most played Shaman deck right now is surprisingly Elemental Shaman. This very slow, grindy, super value based deck. And it's losing most of its elementals. Yeah, lots of elementals are going. Although not all, there's still stuff like Menacing Nimbus, Box Slosher, Fire Elemental. There's still some of that left. And most importantly, Hagata and Shudderwock are remaining. So as long as there is Hagata and there is Shudderwock, there is a huge temptation for Shaman to build another grindy, slow, value-based deck, if at all possible. Maybe it's not based around elementals, or maybe there will be enough elementals, hard to say. It could also be based around something else. For example, it could be based around dragons. Dragon Shaman is already being played, not with very good results mind you, but Dragon Shaman is going to maintain a lot of its tools. Crowd Roaster, Dragon Maw Scorcher, Fire Tree Witch Doctor. There are lots of really sweet battle cries in this deck. And with those battle cries you can then use Shudderwock for a refill. So it's very much possible that Year of the Dragon is going to be the Year of the Dragon Shaman as well. Token Shaman has not really been a contender lately, or Evolve Shaman, as it's more commonly used in Evolve form, and now most of the Evolve mechanics are going away, except for Big Bad Voodoo and the Stormbringer. But there is still certain attraction to playing with tokens. Of course, the Stormbringer gives you a way to first fill the board with tokens and then turn them into legendary minions, and there is always Bloodlust, so Shaman always has some tools to make use of tokens. Whether there will be enough support for a good token Shaman deck to be built, that's uncertain, but it's never out of consideration. Shaman also has an archetype that is losing hardly anything. For example, this build of Aggro Overload Shaman is going to lose 2 cards, 2 copies of Firefly. Everything else, it's basic, it's classic, or it's from Year of the Raven. Aggro Overload Shaman was pretty decent before Flametongue Totem was nerfed. Flametongue Totem nerf really hit it pretty hard. It just couldn't get that aggression out the door quickly enough anymore. But now that everyone is losing a bunch of stuff with the rotation, and Aggro Overload Shaman is not getting even more weaker than it already has been, then even if it's not this exact list, and it probably won't be, but this archetype, with these overload mechanics, with the Spirit of the Frog, with the Thunderhead, with the Doomhammer, with the Rockbiter, the core idea behind this archetype, looks like something that might be viable in Year of the Dragon. Overall, Shaman is not doing very well in the current meta. After all, Shaman has been the only class that is not being brought to tournaments. It's really at the bottom. However, Shaman is going to keep most of its powerful cards because they're mostly from Year of the Raven instead of Year of the Mammoth. And that means that all these Shaman decks that currently have like 46% win rate, 47% win rate, they're not going to lose much of anything, and everyone else is becoming weaker. So there is a chance that Shaman is going to be able to make a comeback based on the cards that it already has. On the other hand, it might also be that they are just inherently not powerful enough to make it a top tier class. Well, it has some interesting opportunities. There's especially this Shadowwalk Hagata line, this grindy, slow battlecry based line. Then there's the Overload, possibly aggressive Overload type, Thunderhead, Doomhammer at the forefront of that. And there's always some chance for tokens and Bloodlust and the Stormbringer, although that is the line that I see as the weakest of these three. Still, all these Shaman cards that have been released in the past year that have not been strong enough to compete with the 2017 cards might be strong enough to compete again in 2019.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.